The divorce papers landed on my desk with the same casual indifference Vanessa used when she'd toss yesterday's newspaper into the trash. 23 years of marriage, reduced to a manila envelope with my name scrawled across it in her sharp, lawyer handwriting. Carter Hawthorne, I muttered, reading my own name like it belonged to someone else. Congratulations, you're officially a test run husband. That phrase still burned. 3 weeks ago, at Vanessa's law firm opening party, I'd overheard her and her office manager, Julia, laughing about test run husbands, men who served their purpose until something better came along. The crowd had erupted in laughter when Vanessa announced, "Well, look who's here, my very own test run husband." I should have walked out then. Instead, I'd stood there like an idiot, holding my whiskey while 200 people in expensive suits laughed at the punchline that was my marriage. Now, sitting in my home office at 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, I finally understood the joke. Vanessa Hawthorne, ambitious attorney and founding partner of Bishop and Hawthorne Law, had decided to upgrade from her current model. My phone buzzed. A text from Vanessa, "Sign the papers. Trent and I are taking the firm international. You'll get the house and Emily on weekends. Don't make this ugly. Trent Bishop." Her co-founder, business partner, and apparently my replacement. 41 years old, divorced, drove a Tesla Model S, and wore suits that cost more than most people's monthly rent. The kind of man who called everyone chief and somehow made it sound condescending. I pulled up my laptop and started typing. First, I canceled our joint credit cards, then our shared investment accounts, then the $20,000 monthly transfer I'd been making to support her law firm's startup costs. Finally, I called my financial advisor. "Richard, it's Carter. I need to pull my investment from Bishop and Hawthorne Law. All of it." That's $2 million, Carter. "Are you sure?" "Never been more sure of anything in my life." 20 minutes later, my phone started ringing. Vanessa's name flashed across the screen. I let it go to voicemail. Then it rang again. And again. By 4 p.m., I had 47 missed calls. My daughter Emily burst through the front door, her backpack hitting the floor with a thud. At 12, she had Vanessa's sharp intelligence, but my sense of humor, a dangerous combination. "Dad, why is Mom screaming into her phone in the driveway?" I looked out the window. Vanessa sat in her BMW, gesticulating wildly while talking on her phone. Even from a distance, I could see the panic in her movements. "Your mother and I are getting divorced, Em." Emily nodded slowly. "Because of Uncle Trent?" The question hit me like a slap. "What do you know about Uncle Trent?" "He's not really our uncle, right? And he stays over sometimes when you're traveling for work." Mom told me not to mention it. She paused, studying my face. "I'm not stupid, Dad. Smart kid. Too smart for her own good sometimes." "No, you're not stupid. And yes, because of Uncle Trent." My phone rang again. This time it was Nate Morrison, my best friend since college, and the only ex-cop I knew who'd traded his badge for a private investigator's license. "Carter, buddy, I just got a very interesting call from someone claiming to be your wife's business partner. Apparently, you've ruined their lives, and they want to hire me to investigate you for fraud." I couldn't help but laugh. "Did you take the case?" "Hell no. But I am curious about what you did to make a grown man cry over the phone." "I pulled my investment from their law firm." "The whole thing?" "Every penny." Nate whistled low. "You magnificent bastard. They're probably scrambling to cover their overhead right now. That's the idea. Want some company? I'm thinking your evening might get interesting." As if on cue, someone pounded on my front door, hard, angry knocks that echoed through the house. "Nate, you might want to hurry." I hung up and walked to the door, Emily trailing behind me. Through the peephole, I could see Trent Bishop standing on my porch, his usually perfect hair disheveled, his expensive suit wrinkled. I opened the door. "You son of a bitch." Trent's face was red, spittle flying as he spoke. "You can't just destroy a business because your feelings got hurt." "Actually, I can. It's my money. We have contracts, obligations. You're going to bankrupt us." I leaned against the doorframe, enjoying his panic. "That's unfortunate. Maybe you should have thought about that before you started sleeping with my wife." Daddy, Emily whispered behind me. Should I call 911? Trent's eyes darted to Emily, then back to me. This isn't over, Carter. Vanessa and I won't let you destroy everything we've built. Everything you've built? With my money? In my wife's bed? I stepped closer, and Trent actually took a step back. Here's what's going to happen, Trent. You're going to walk back to your overpriced car, drive away from my house, and pray I don't decide to get creative with my revenge. You're threatening me? I'm promising you. Trent opened his mouth to respond, but Vanessa's voice cut through the evening air. Trent, get in the car. We're going to fix this. He looked at me one more time, his jaw working like he wanted to say something else. Instead, he turned and walked away. I watched them drive off, Vanessa's BMW disappearing around the corner with squealing tires. Dad? Emily's voice was small behind me. Yeah, kiddo. Are you going to be okay? I closed the door and turned to face my daughter. She looked worried, older than her 12 years. Em, your old man is about to show your mother and Uncle Trent what happens when you mistake kindness for weakness. She smiled then, the first real smile I'd seen from her in weeks. Can I help? 3 days later, I discovered Vanessa had lied about more than just her relationship with Trent. According to Emily, who had overheard a phone call, Vanessa wasn't attending a crucial legal conference in Miami, as she'd claimed. She was on a luxury cruise with Trent and half her staff. She said something about celebrating their new partnership, Emily reported over breakfast, and she laughed about how you were probably sitting at home feeling sorry for yourself. I called Nate. I need a favor. A big one. I'm listening. Can you track a cell phone? Depends on whose phone and why you want to know. I explained about the cruise. Nate was quiet for a long moment. Carter, what exactly are you planning? I'm planning to crash their party. That's actually not a terrible idea. Give me an hour. Nate called back with coordinates. Vanessa's phone was pinging from a Royal Caribbean ship currently docked in Nassau. They're scheduled to be there until 8 p.m. tonight, Nate said. If we move fast, we could catch them. We? You think I'm missing this? I've got a buddy with a boat. Ex-Navy guy everyone calls Salty Pete. He owes me a favor. 4 hours later, Emily, Nate, and I were speeding across blue water in a 30-foot cigarette boat. Pete at the helm, with a grin that suggested he was enjoying this far too much. You sure about bringing the kid? Pete shouted over the engine noise. She's the one who figured out where they were, I shouted back. Besides, she wants to see her mother get what's coming to her. Emily, wearing a life jacket and sunglasses, gave Pete a thumbs up. This is the best day ever. The cruise ship loomed ahead of us, a floating city of excess and bad decisions. According to the ship's website, tonight was their masquerade ball. Perfect cover for what I had in mind. Pete pulled alongside a service dock. I can give you 2 hours before security gets suspicious. Nate handed me a small device. A wireless microphone. Clips to your shirt. Whatever you say will broadcast to every speaker on the ship's main deck. How did you... Don't ask questions you don't want answered. We made our way through the ship's corridors, following the sound of music and laughter. The masquerade ball was in full swing on the main deck. Hundreds of people in formal wear and elaborate masks dancing under string lights. It took me 10 minutes to spot Vanessa. She was wearing a red dress I'd bought her for our anniversary, dancing with Trent while her staff watched and applauded. Julia, the office manager, was recording everything on her phone, probably for social media. I clipped the microphone to my shirt and walked onto the dance floor. The music stopped when I tapped the DJ on the shoulder and handed him a $100 bill. Mind if I make an announcement? Carter? Vanessa's voice carried across the sudden silence. She was staring at me like I was a ghost. I took the microphone from the DJ and smiled at the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to interrupt your evening, but I wanted to share a wonderful story with you about love, betrayal, and what happens when you mistake a good man's patience for stupidity. Vanessa started pushing through the crowd toward me. Carter, don't you dare. You see, 3 weeks ago, my wife Vanessa threw a party to celebrate opening her new law firm. I was so proud of her. I'd invested $2 million in her dream, supported her through law school, raised our daughter while she built her career. The crowd was listening now, sensing drama. At that party, she introduced me to everyone as her test-run husband, Everyone laughed. It was hilarious. Apparently, I was just a placeholder until someone better came along. Vanessa had stopped moving. Her face was pale above her red mask. That someone better turned out to be her business partner, Trent Bishop. Trent, wave to everyone. I pointed at Trent, who looked like he wanted to disappear. Several people turned to stare at him. Now, here's the funny part. While Vanessa and Trent were planning their romantic cruise, business conference, I decided to withdraw my investment from their law firm, all of it. Turns out, when you build a business on someone else's money, you should probably not sleep with their wife. The crowd was murmuring now, some laughing, others looking uncomfortable. Vanessa, sweetheart, how's the firm doing without my funding? Still planning to go international? Vanessa finally found her voice. You bastard! You can't humiliate me like this. I'm not humiliating you, honey. You did that all by yourself when you decided to cheat on your husband and then lie about it. Trent finally stepped forward. That's enough, Carter. You've made your point. Have I? Because I don't think I have. I turned back to the crowd. See, Trent here thought he was getting an upgrade. Successful lawyer, beautiful woman, established business. What he actually got was a cheating wife and a bankrupt law firm. Trent, how does it feel to know that everything you thought you were getting was built on my money and my trust? Trent's face was red with rage. You son of a bitch. He lunged at me. But cruise ship security appeared as if by magic, grabbing his arms before he could reach me. Gentlemen, I said to the security guards, this man just tried to assault me in front of 200 witnesses. I think it's time for him to cool off. They dragged Trent toward the edge of the deck. I followed, the crowd parting like the Red Sea. Wait, I called out. Before you take him away, I think he needs to cool down. I grabbed Trent's shoulders and shoved him backward into the ship's pool. He hit the water with a tremendous splash, his expensive suit immediately waterlogged. The crowd erupted in laughter and applause. Vanessa was screaming now, calling me every name in the book, while Julia tried to calm her down. Oh, Vanessa, I called out. I almost forgot. I also canceled our joint credit cards, our shared accounts, and the lease on your office building. You might want to call your landlord. Security was moving toward me now, but Emily appeared at my side like she'd been waiting for her cue. Officers, she said in her most innocent 12-year-old voice, my daddy didn't do anything wrong. That man attacked him first. I recorded the whole thing. She held up her phone showing a perfect video of Trent lunging at me. The security chief looked at the video, then at me, then at Trent, who was still floundering in the pool. Sir, I think it's time for you and your daughter to leave the ship. Absolutely, officer. We wouldn't want to spoil anyone else's evening. As we walked away, I heard Vanessa screaming at the security guards, demanding they arrest me for something, anything. But there was nothing to arrest me for. I'd simply told the truth in a very public way. Nate was waiting for us at the service dock, grinning from ear to ear. How'd it go? Trent's all wet. Vanessa's reputation is ruined, and their law firm is officially broke. And how do you feel? I looked back at the cruise ship, where I could still hear the commotion on the main deck. Like I'm just getting started. The next morning, I woke up to 17 voicemails from Vanessa, each one more desperate than the last. The final message was barely coherent. Carter, please, we can work this out. The firm, we're going to lose everything. Please call me back. I deleted them all without listening to the complete messages. Emily was already downstairs making breakfast when I came into the kitchen. She looked up from her cereal with a mischievous smile. Mom called the house phone 6 times this morning. I let it go to voicemail. Good girl, what did she say? Mostly crying and begging. Oh, and she said Uncle Trent is talking to lawyers about suing you. I poured myself coffee and sat down across from Emily. How do you feel about all this, kiddo? I know it's a lot. Emily considered this seriously. I feel like Mom forgot she had a family when she started her business, and I feel like Uncle Trent is creepy, and I never liked him anyway. Creepy how? He always looked at me weird, and one time when you were traveling, I heard him and Mom in your bedroom. It was gross. The rage that hit me was white-hot and immediate. I gripped my coffee mug so hard, I thought it might shatter. Em, why didn't you tell me? I tried to, but Mom said I was imagining things. She said Uncle Trent was just helping with business stuff. I pulled out my phone and called Nate. We're escalating this, I said when he answered. What happened? I told him about Emily's revelation. Nate was quiet for a long moment. Carter, I need you to stay calm. We're going to destroy them, but we're going to do it smart, legal, complete. I'm listening. Meet me at my office in an hour. Bring Emily. It's time she learned how real justice works. Nate's private investigation office was in a converted warehouse downtown, all exposed brick and modern technology. Emily was fascinated by the surveillance equipment and computer screens. Okay, Nate said, pulling up several files on his main computer. I spent last night doing research. Bishop and Hawthorne Law is in worse shape than we thought. He showed us financial records, emails, and phone logs. They've been operating on your investment and credit for 8 months. Without your money, they can't make payroll, can't pay rent. And they've got 3 major cases they can't afford to pursue. How did you get all this? Nate grinned. Julia, their office manager, is apparently not as loyal as they thought. Turns out, she's been skimming money from the firm's accounts, and she's terrified of going to jail. She's willing to cooperate in exchange for immunity. Cooperate with what? With completely destroying their reputation, their business, and their future prospects. Over the next 2 hours, Nate laid out a plan that was both elegant and ruthless. We would systematically dismantle every aspect of Vanessa and Trent's professional and personal lives, using only legal means and public information. First, Nate said, we exposed the affair to the State Bar Association. Sleeping with your business partner while married to someone else might not be illegal, but it's definitely unethical when it involves misusing a client's funds. My funds, I corrected. Exactly. Second, we make sure everyone in the legal community knows what happened. Lawyers gossip worse than high school students. And third, we destroy Trent personally. His ex-wife is already suspicious about his finances. If she finds out he's been hiding assets and cheating on his alimony payments, Emily looked up from the surveillance equipment she'd been examining. Can I help? Nate and I exchanged glances. This is pretty serious stuff, I said. Dad, Mom humiliated you in front of everyone you know. She cheated on you, lied to me, and she's trying to steal half of everything you worked for. I want to help. I looked at my 12-year-old daughter, seeing Vanessa's determination, but also something else. A sense of justice that was purely her own. What did you have in mind? Emily smiled, and for a moment, she looked exactly like me. Mom thinks I don't understand technology, but I know all her passwords. I know her social media accounts, her email, her calendar. I know things about her and Uncle Trent that they don't think anyone knows. Nate leaned forward. Such as? Such as the fact that they've been planning this for 6 months. They have emails about getting divorced, about taking Dad's money, about how stupid Dad is for trusting them. The rage was back, but this time it was cold and focused. Show me. For the next hour, Emily walked us through months of evidence. Emails between Vanessa and Trent planning their affair, their business strategy, and their exit plan. Text messages mocking me, my job, my pathetic devotion to our marriage. Financial records showing how they'd been systematically moving money around to hide their relationship and their plans. Jesus, Carter, Nate said, scrolling through the evidence. They weren't just cheating on you. They were planning to rob you blind. Not anymore, they're not. I stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the city where Vanessa was probably scrambling to save her failing business. Nate, how long would it take to get this information to the right people? Give me 4 hours. Emily, how would you feel about visiting your mother's office? What are we going to do? I smiled at my daughter, my partner in this carefully orchestrated revenge. We're going to give her a chance to apologize. And when she refuses, we're going to watch her world burn down around her. Emily clapped her hands together. This is going to be awesome. Bishop and Hawthorne Law occupied the 15th floor of a downtown high-rise, all glass walls and expensive furniture that I'd helped pay for. When Emily and I walked into the reception area at 2 p.m., Julia looked like she'd been crying. Mr. Hawthorne, she said, her voice shaky, Vanessa's in a meeting with... No, she's not, I interrupted. She's hiding in her office, hoping I'll go away. Tell her I'm here with Emily, and I have something she needs to see. Julia picked up her phone with trembling hands. Vanessa, Carter's here with Emily. He says he has something to show you. I could hear Vanessa's voice through the phone, sharp and angry. She'll see you now, Julia said. Emily and I walked through the office toward Vanessa's corner suite. The place felt different now, desperate somehow. Staff members avoided eye contact, and I could see moving boxes stacked in some of the offices. Vanessa was sitting behind her desk when we entered, trying to look composed. Trent was there too, wearing a different expensive suit, but looking haggard. Carter, Vanessa said, I'm glad you're here. We need to talk about this situation rationally. Rationally? I sat down across from her, Emily taking the chair next to me. You want to talk rationally about how you've been planning to cheat me out of my money for 6 months? Trent leaned forward. Now wait just a minute. Shut up, Trent. I didn't even look at him. Adults are talking. I pulled out my phone and set it on Vanessa's desk. Emily, would you like to read your mother some of her emails? Emily cleared her throat and began reading from my phone screen. Email from Vanessa to Trent, dated 6 months ago. Carter is so pathetically grateful for any attention I give him. He'll never suspect what we're planning. The fool actually thinks I love him. Vanessa's face went white. Emily, stop. Email from Trent to Vanessa, same date. Once we get the business established with his money, we can divorce him and take half of everything else. He's too nice to fight dirty. That's enough. Vanessa stood up, her composure finally cracking. Oh, we're just getting started, I said calmly. Emily, tell them about the financial records. Emily smiled sweetly at her mother. Mom, did you know that moving money around to hide it from your spouse is called dissipation of marital assets, and that it's illegal? Trent was staring at Emily like she'd grown a second head. She's 12 years old. How does she? She's 12 years old and smarter than both of you combined, I said. Which, admittedly, isn't saying much. Vanessa sat back down heavily. What do you want, Carter? I want you to admit what you did. I want you to apologize to Emily for lying to her and using her to cover up your affair. And I want you to sign over your parental rights so she never has to see you again. I'll never sign away my rights to my daughter. Then I guess we'll do this the hard way. I stood up and walked to the window, looking down at the street 15 floors below. Vanessa, in about 10 minutes, every lawyer in the city is going to receive an email containing evidence of your affair, your financial misconduct, and your plans to defraud me. The State Bar Association is getting the same information. You can't, I can, and I have. Trent, your ex-wife is also getting copies of everything, including the financial records, showing how you've been hiding income to avoid paying proper alimony. Trent jumped to his feet. You son of a bitch. I'll sue you for harassment. With what money? Your law firm is bankrupt, remember? I turned back to face them both. But here's the really beautiful part. Julia's been cooperating with investigators for the past week. She's provided evidence that you've both been using client funds for personal expenses. That's not just unethical. It's criminal. Vanessa looked at her office door, where Julia was visible through the glass wall, talking on the phone. Julia is facing embezzlement charges of her own, I said. She's willing to testify against you in exchange for a plea deal. The office door opened and Nate walked in, carrying a folder. Sorry to interrupt, he said, but I thought you'd want to know that Channel 7 News is downstairs. Apparently someone tipped them off about a major law firm scandal. Vanessa looked like she was going to be sick. Carter, please. We can work something out. I'll give you everything. The business, the house, whatever you want. What I wanted was a faithful wife and an honest marriage. Since you couldn't provide that, I'll settle for watching you lose everything you stole from me. Emily stood up and walked over to her mother's desk. Mom, you hurt my dad. You lied to me. You brought that creep into our house and made me keep secrets. I don't want to see you anymore. Vanessa reached for Emily's hand, but Emily stepped back. Sweetheart, I'm still your mother. No, Emily said firmly. A real mother wouldn't do what you did. The office door burst open and 3 reporters with cameras pushed their way in. Ms. Hawthorne, is it true that your law firm has been using client funds for personal expenses? Mr. Bishop, how do you respond to allegations that you've been hiding income from your ex-wife? Vanessa and Trent looked trapped, cornered animals with nowhere to run. I took Emily's hand and walked toward the door. Gentlemen, I said to the reporters, I believe you'll find all the documentation you need with the State Bar Association. Ms. Hawthorne and Mr. Bishop have no comment at this time. As we left the office, I could hear Vanessa screaming at the reporters to get out, her voice high and desperate. In the elevator, Emily looked up at me. Dad, are we the bad guys? I thought about that for a moment. Sometimes good people have to do hard things to stop bad people from hurting others. Your mother and Trent made their choices. We're just making sure they face the consequences. Emily nodded solemnly. Good, because I want them to pay for what they did to you. The elevator doors opened on the ground floor, where more reporters were waiting. Mr. Hawthorne, can you comment on your wife's alleged financial misconduct? I stopped and faced the cameras. My wife made her choices. Now, she gets to live with the consequences. That's all I have to say. As we walked away, I heard one reporter say to another, "This is going to be huge. A law firm scandal, embezzlement, adultery, well, it's got everything." Emily squeezed my hand. "Now what's next, Dad?" I smiled down at my daughter, my partner in this carefully orchestrated justice. Next, we go home and wait for your mother to realize that her old life is over. 2 weeks later, Vanessa showed up at our house at midnight, drunk and desperate. I heard her pounding on the door and found her on the porch. Mascara streaked down her face, wearing the same clothes she'd had on 3 days earlier. "Carter, please," she slurred. "I need to talk to you." I stepped outside, closing the door behind me so Emily wouldn't wake up. "Vanessa, you're drunk. Go home." "I don't have a home. They evicted me from the apartment. The firm is gone. Trent left town after his ex-wife got him arrested for contempt of court." I looked at the woman I'd been married to for 23 years. She looked broken, defeated, nothing like the confident attorney who'd humiliated me at her opening party. "That's unfortunate." "Carter, I'm sorry. I made mistakes. Terrible mistakes. But we can fix this. We can start over." "No, we can't. Please, I'll do anything. I'll sign whatever you want. Just don't leave me with nothing." I studied her face in the porch light. A month ago, her tears might have moved me. Now I felt nothing but cold satisfaction. "Vanessa, you didn't leave me with nothing when you decided to cheat on me. You tried to take everything. My money, my house, my daughter's respect. You planned to destroy me. I was confused. I made bad decisions. You made calculated decisions. For 6 months. You and Trent planned every detail of how you were going to rob me blind." She grabbed my arm, her fingernails digging into my skin. "Carter, I'm begging you. I have nothing left. Nothing." I gently removed her hand from my arm. "You have exactly what you gave me when you decided to cheat. Nothing. I'm Emily's mother. Emily doesn't want to see you. She told the family court judge that herself." Vanessa's face crumpled. "You turned my own daughter against me." "I didn't have to turn her against you. You did that yourself when you brought your boyfriend into our house and made her lie about it." A car pulled into the driveway. Nate got out, along with a woman I didn't recognize. "Carter," Nate called out. "Sorry to bother you so late. This is Detective Sarah Martinez. She needs to speak with Vanessa." The detective approached us, showing her badge. "Ms. Hawthorne, I have a warrant for your arrest on charges of embezzlement, fraud, and money laundering." Vanessa looked at me with pure hatred. "You did this. You destroyed my life." "No, Vanessa. You destroyed your own life. I just made sure everyone found out about it." As Detective Martinez read Vanessa her rights, my ex-wife looked at me one last time. "I hope you're happy, Carter. I hope this was worth it." I watched as they put her in the back of the police car. It was. After they drove away, Nate and I sat on the porch steps. "How do you feel?" he asked. I thought about it for a long moment. "I feel like justice was served. Vanessa and Trent thought they could use me, steal from me, and humiliate me without consequences. They were wrong. Any regrets? Just one. I regret not seeing who she really was sooner." The porch light came on and Emily appeared in the doorway, wearing her pajamas. "Dad? Was that Mom?" "Yeah, kiddo. That was your mom." Emily sat down next to me on the steps. "Is she going to jail?" "Probably." Emily was quiet for a moment. "Good," she said finally. "She hurt you and she lied to me. People should face consequences for their actions." I put my arm around my daughter. "Yes, they should." Nate stood up to leave. "Carter, I have to ask. Was this all worth it? The revenge, the destruction, all of it? I looked at my house, my daughter, my life that was finally free of Vanessa's lies and manipulation. Nate, some people mistake kindness for weakness. They think a good man won't fight back when he's betrayed. Vanessa and Trent learned that there's a difference between being kind and being stupid. And what's that difference? I smiled, feeling truly peaceful for the first time in months. A kind man gives you every chance to do the right thing. But when you choose to do wrong anyway, he makes sure you face the consequences of that choice. Emily yawned and leaned against my shoulder. Dad, can we go inside now? I have school tomorrow. Of course, sweetheart. As we walked into the house, Emily looked back at the empty driveway where Vanessa's car had been. Dad, do you think Mom will ever understand what she did wrong? I turned off the porch light and locked the door. I don't know, Em, but it doesn't matter anymore. She's not our problem now. Emily smiled and headed upstairs to bed. I love you, Dad. I love you too, kiddo. I stood in my living room, looking around at the home that was finally peaceful again. No more lies, no more betrayal, no more wondering what Vanessa was really doing when she claimed to be working late. My phone buzzed with a text message from an unknown number. This is Trent. When I get back to town, we're going to settle this like men. I deleted the message without responding. Trent Bishop was a coward who'd run away the moment things got difficult. He wasn't coming back to face anything. But if he did, he'd find the same thing Vanessa had found, that destroying a good man's life has consequences. I turned off the lights and headed upstairs. Tomorrow, Emily and I would start building our new life, free from the people who'd tried to destroy us. And if anyone else decided to mistake my kindness for weakness, they'd learn the same lesson Vanessa and Trent had learned. Some battles are worth fighting, and some people deserve exactly what they get.